The movie follows a trio of best friends, Jonah, Nic, and Haley, who are students at MIT. Because Haley is moving to California for a year, they all decide to set out on a road trip across the country in order to drop her off. While on the road trip, Haley feels that Nic is steadily distancing himself from her. Nic suffers from some kind of degenerative disease that affects his legs. Within a short period of time, he has transformed from a healthy-looking young man to a healthy-looking young man who is heavily reliant on crutches. He believes that his legs would only grow worse as time passes, so he does not want his disability to hold her back. Haley is angry for him for single-handedly deciding the end of their relationship, but she is helpless against his stubbornness. At the same time, a malicious hacker known as Nomad begins targeting the group of friends again. He has already created a lot of problems for them in the past, which almost got them expelled from MIT. Thankfully, they were able to prevent the worst-case scenario, but the hostility they feel towards Nomad is still strong. When he targets Haley this time, they are overtaken by a strong desire to get back at him, so they spend the night focused on their computers, typing away to find a clue about his location. Finally, they are able to figure out that he is currently in Nevada, which is not too far from their current location. And so, the trio decide to take a detour to catch the hacker. They reach the location shown by their GPS in the dead of the night. It is a remote shack which looks like it has been abandoned for years. They are a bit skeptical that a top-level hacker would operate from a place like this, but nonetheless, Nic and Jonah get out of the car to investigate. Haley remains inside the car and tells them this is a bad idea, but the two men are determined to get to the bottom of this. They get their video camera and flashlights before heading out to explore the shack. The inside of a building is just as it seems on the outside, old, dirty, and filled with broken furniture. But still, they carefully inspect every nook and cranny in case they find any evidence of Nomad. While they are searching for their basement, they hear Haley scream outside and break into a sprint. The car doors are all open and the headlights are flashing, but there is no sign of Haley. They start panicking and frantically look around the dark surroundings. Suddenly, they see a glimpse of her being sucked into the air, and instantly they are all engulfed by a white light before losing consciousness. When Nic opens his eyes again, he finds himself inside a sterile environment of a hospital-like facility. He notices that he has lost complete use of his legs and now relies on a wheelchair to move, giving new meaning to Jonah being a third wheel. Also, there is a strange combination of numbers tattooed on his arm. He is taken to a questioning room by a person in a hazmat suit, where he meets the doctor in charge of him, who is also wearing the same suit. The doctor, Damon, refuses to answer most of his questions, but he does reveal that Nic and his friends have made contact with extraterrestrial entities, so they might be contaminated. This facility exists to monitor them and help them cope with the situation. Nic remains in a state of disbelief, but his doubts are soon dispelled when the doctor shows him the recording from his own video camera where an alien can be seen peeking through the trees. When Nic is taken back inside his room, he hears a voice coming out from the air vents. It belongs to Jonah, who is also trapped inside the facility with him. Jonah has no trust for this facility or its doctors because he can feel that there is something weird going on with his body. But for now, Nic just tells him to stay put. Another day, when Nic is on his way to meet the doctor again, he passes by Haley's room where she is lying unconscious on the bed. The doctor does not want to reveal anything about her situation, but when Nic threatens him to be uncooperative, the doctor finally relents and grants him a visit outside her room. He claims that she is in a coma and promises that Nic will be the first to be notified once she wakes up, but he does not trust the doctor's words. Over the time spent inside the facility, Nic feels that he has grown increasingly smarter, so much so that he believes that he can easily hatch a plan to escape from this place. He consults his plans with Jonah through the air vent, and they both work together to figure out the key combination of the door lock that would lead them outside the building. This is also when Jonah reveals that his arms feel weird and the people here have started giving him strange medicine. Hearing this, Nic feels a renewed sense of urgency to escape. True to their suspicions, it is not a simple rehabilitation facility for people who have made extraterrestrial contact, because in the next scene, we see a living cow being tied up and letting some kind of creature come in contact with it, all the while the doctors observe it through a glass window. The creature is obviously dangerous as it swiftly escapes, resulting in the entire facility going on high emergency alert. Nic experiences all the panic inside the facility and grows scared himself, but the situation is quickly brought into control. As he is taken back to his room, Nic sees deep marks across the walls, as if some strong, fiery creature had used its claws. This raises numerous more questions in his heart, but the doctor in charge of him refuses to answer any. Instead, he implies that Jonah was never in this facility to begin with, and Nic was just hearing his voice inside his head all this time, which makes him even more confused. Unable to tolerate the strangeness of this place any longer, Nic takes his chance to escape soon. He ties up his wheelchair to Haley's bed and drags her through the corridors. He is cautious and the workers seem to be careless or blind, so he easily makes his way to the final door. Unfortunately, he cannot reach the keypad while sitting, so he hurriedly uses his IV pipe to press the keys. However, this has cost him a lot of time, and before he can press the final key, the doctor finds him and drags both of them back into the facility. This time, he and Haley are kept in the same room, which gives him some peace of mind, although it is only short-lived as he soon finds that his legs have been replaced with some alien robotic limbs. He is not happy, probably because now he has no excuse to break up with Haley. He realizes why the doctor was giving so much importance to him. It is because he is a near-perfect combination of a human and alien technology. Scared and confused, he tries to bargain with the doctor, but it falls on deaf ears. He is still unbalanced on his new legs, but he soon gets the hang of it and makes up his mind to do something drastic. He kicks the door down with his powerful legs and drags Haley's bed along with him to escape once again. This time, he has enough strength to beat down his pursuers and knock down all the locked doors. The doctor tries to reason with him that he will keep the two of them safe inside the facility, but Nic's faith in him was lost long ago. Going through long and winding tunnels, Nic finally manages to escape out of the facility with Haley. They find that they are in the middle of a vast, barren desert. At this time, Haley regains her consciousness, and the two of them manage to hitch a ride on an old woman's car who is kind enough to give them a ride to the nearest gas station. Nic tells Haley to stay put on a truck outside while he goes inside a store to make some calls, but none of the calls go through. Moreover, he sees the news on the TV announcing him and his friends as highly contagious escapees. He has no time to dwell on this information though, because he suddenly notices that the truck he put Haley on is speeding away. He instantly starts chasing the truck, but the driver throws him off. However, he does not give up so easily, as he makes full use of his robotic legs and runs at an alarming speed. At the same time, Haley points a gun at the driver, and the driver has no choice but to reluctantly stop the vehicle and get out. The two of them drive away with a truck, leaving the driver on the side of the road. They plan to make a quick escape out of this place, but to their disbelief, the highway just disappears, and before them is just a canyon. With no other choice, they turn back to find an abandoned building where they decide to rest for the night. Through the long hours of their drive, they feel like they are going around in circles, but have no proof supporting the suspicion. At the same time, the research facility has dispatched its troops to search for Nic and his friends. The team is led by the doctor who was in charge of Nic, and his first priority is to find all the people that they have made contact with. He first finds the old lady who gave Nic and Haley a lift, only to find that her behavior is getting increasingly weird and crazy. So, he must eliminate her. At night, he manages to find the truck driver whose truck was stolen by the couple, and the driver is also showcasing bizarre behavior, and he too is shot dead by the doctor. The same night, Nic and Haley suddenly wake up and go on high alert when they hear some noises coming from the outside. They quickly hide behind the counters before trying to figure out a way to escape. All of a sudden, they see a person wearing a hazmat suit similar to the workers in the facility, but it is not an enemy, but Jonah, who has also managed to escape by disguising himself. Nic is beyond thrilled to reunite with his friend, and they immediately start exchanging information. They dreadfully realize that the numbers tattooed on their bodies add up to 51, which means that they might be in Area 51, a highly classified US military installation. Jonah also reveals that the people in the facility messed up his body. Nic watches in horror as he takes off his gloves to show his mechanical arms that are made with similar technology as Nic's legs. To truly escape from the reach of the facility, they must get out of this desert and find a crowded place to mix in with other people. Together, they figure out a road that would lead them out. The next day, the three of them set out on the stolen truck, but to their bad luck, they encounter a checkpoint. When they attempt to force their way through, it is suddenly blocked by pillars, which makes the truck unable to move neither forward nor backward. In a last-ditch attempt, Jonah jumps out of the truck and throws himself in the middle of gunfire to steal the enemy's computer. His intention is to program the pillars to retract, but to his frustration, his new mechanical arms make it very difficult for him to type. When a grenade assaults his body and he is riddled with wounds, Jonah soon realizes that his life cannot be saved, so he wants his friends to escape at least. He uses his mechanical arm to smash the pillars blocking the truck, allowing Nic and Haley to drive away. He sacrifices his life to use his remaining strength to keep the facility personnel from pursuing his friends. But his friends' escape is short-lived because the doctor and the others are already prepared a little ahead on the road. As the truck's tires are punctured and it is overturned, Nic and Haley are unable to do anything but lie helplessly on the road with their injured bodies. Haley is swiftly taken away in a helicopter and Nic is guarded by the doctor. As he looks at the doctor, Nic realizes a terrible truth. His perceived increased smarts back at the facility didn't put two and two together to see that Dr. Damon is Nomad, who lured him and his friends into coming to this place. Angered and desperate, Nic focuses on using his mechanical legs to their highest capabilities in order to make a last attempt at escape and probably to finally leave Haley behind for good. With lightning-fast speed, he zips away from the doctor and all the people blocking his path, and eventually ends up breaking through some kind of a barrier. After breaking out of the barrier, he realizes some other bizarre truths. He was never in Nevada. He and his friends were captured by aliens and brought to their spaceship for experiments. Even the doctor is an alien creature, with only the front of his head resembling Lawrence Fishburne. And as the scene pans out, we see that the numbers on Nic's arm do not indicate Area 51, but signify the alien ship itself. Thus, this is how the movie ends, after giving some answers, but leaving Nic and us with even more questions that J.J. Abrams would be proud of, such as why do aliens use Arabic numerals? And that's a wrap for this movie recap. Thanks for watching.